You're suggesting that he has been a part of some anonymous accounts. When he was asked about this, he admitted to using one of the accounts, but denied using the 4 other. There were 5 in total, obviously. This is really interesting because earlier this year we had the incident with KD.
Yeah,
he told on himself, right, with his burner account. There's no surprise. We all use social media. We have burner accounts. I don't. But
no, I don't either.
You just said
I said for those who use it, I know the real motivation behind using it.
You sound like an expert.
Right.
You got a burner account, so you can set up your own DMs. I know what you're doing.
Damn.
So, Jemele, what do you make of this story? It's just so bizarre, no?
It is very bizarre. It's just bizarre enough to be true. I mean, look, a lot of people wind up going down the social media rabbit hole and you wind up in scary and dark places. It's just hard to believe because this is an NBA executive who has a great reputation, comes from a great family, and it's just hard to believe that somebody would be that thin-skinned to the point where they felt like they needed to defend themselves online, go after other players. And so far, from based off the Ringer's account, which you can see that a few of the accounts are proven to be true.
Yeah.
And if the rest of this is true, there's no way that you can let him stay with the 76ers.
You say family name. Explain that for me, because a lot of folks may not know the history. That's a very good family name.
It is. I mean, Bryan Colangelo, I mean, he's credited with a lot of great things that he's done as being an ambassador in this game, Bryan Colangelo being Bryan's father. Yeah. The fact that he righted the ship when it came to our international basketball, you know, like we got the dream team and all that back together, if you can, to put it that way. So it's just sort of weird that coming from that kind of lineage that you would feel the need to do this.
Yeah, which is why I tend to think that it's not him. I'm more apt to believe that maybe it's like one of his kids. Because when you look at who they were following, I mean, why is he following like their high school teammates and stuff like that? That's kind of stuff that kids would do when they follow each other on Twitter. But if it is true, I see lawsuit.
How is that not true? Did you read the story?
Yes,
The burner accounts were reporting things that only high-level executives would know.
That's part of the reason why I see lawsuit, because if it's true, that means there could possibly be a HIPAA law violation because they disclosed Jahlil Okafor's medical records. That's the problem. And if it's not true, I see lawsuit because now you got defamation of character. So either way it go, this is just the beginning of what could be a very messy legal battle.
Yeah, in totality, I'm not disturbed by this, but I understand there are certain things that will leak to medical records. But actions speak louder than words, right? And we know that worse things are said inside the locker room, inside the facilities, than what we just read here on the reports. But now this is going to be the moment in time that we're saying, you know what? Because you said these things from an account that's burner account, which is right now, that's a hot button word and phrase, that we're going to now come down with all stones towards you for things that we know in action are actually worse than what you said. So I'm not really disturbed by this. I think this is a situation where I've been told worse from a GM to my face or through his actions.
But that's the difference, though. You were told to your face. You're talking about somebody who is an executive and an adult who's supposed to come to you as a player. Like, if you're a player, how can you ever trust this guy? He's out there secretly leaking information about you. Like, this is such a violation.
But let's keep it really funky. We all worked at corporations where we knew there were people at the top doing things that were not appropriate and very immature and perhaps behind the scenes manipulating the situation. This isn't new.
That's what I'm saying, Jemele. It's, my third option is, look, you told me to my face, you showed me through action, or you just cut me on Twitter. Or you just, you know what, just your actions, and they weren't even direct to me, indirectly affected my life. I just don't see me as a player, like Joel Embiid. His first response was like, well, I got to be proven that this is true.
Well, his first response was, bruh. With the picture
right. Yeah. But then he's like, yo, if it's true, man, we got the jokes. But if not, but he's not already, like, he's not turned off by this. I'm not turned off by this in the moment.
All right, we will see how this plays out for the 76ers. Meanwhile, earlier today, Brian Windhorst was on OTL, and he talked about how he thinks this will impact the franchise going forward.
This is the most important offseason possibly in the history of the Sixers franchise, where they have an opportunity to add to this team. He is going to have to pitch this team to free agents, and he cannot do this without hanging around his neck. This investigation for the Sixers, they have to be thorough, they have to be right, because this is a circumstantial case, but they can't take a lot of time. They don't have the luxury of time right now. And this is going to be something everybody in the league is watching, because the Sixers are in position to leap into the top 3 in the NBA with the assets they have at their disposal this summer.
So the obvious question, which we heard and saw yesterday on Twitter, was how will this impact LeBron's free agency decision? Jemele, I'll start
Yeah, I
with you.
mean, LeBron, look, if I'm the 76ers or a 76ers fan, as long as you handle this situation appropriately, I don't think it really impacts it that much. You also can look at the bright side. I mean, LeBron did go back and play for somebody who wrote the Comic Sans this letter to him.
This is true.
All right, he
This
did
is
do
true.
that. I mean, there was a lot of mess and a lot of
Fair.
drama with that organization, and it still didn't prevent him from returning there. But at this point, the perception is out of control. And that's why, regardless, unless this investigation can be so detailed that we all believe, no, he wasn't behind this, then I don't think they're going to have a lot of options that they have to let him go.
Well, it might actually work out in their favor because they let him go. His boy Griff is still available.
Yeah, that's true.
You can just slide him right on in and keep
So
his train moving. So I'm not saying that can work for everyone else that they may be looking at, but when it comes specifically with LeBron James, either it's not true and you keep the guy, and if it is true, I bring in the guy who I trust from Cleveland to help build the pieces that we need to make this a championship team.
Yeah, and look, if he did it, he's gone. This has no impact on free agency. If he didn't do it, who's better to separate perception from reality than LeBron James, even if you Google LeBron James scandal, something's popping up. And LeBron in his world is like, that's false. And LeBron in his world is like, that's not true. So LeBron can look another person in the eye and say, oh, you just went through something I went through. That's not true.
Oh.
Respect for you as I know what's real from fake. So to me, this doesn't matter.
All right.